Good evening. This is the regular meeting of the Select Board for November 16th, 2021. This meeting will only be an hour or change due to the start of the fall special town meeting at 7 p.m. Please be advised that the noticed public hearing for, I think, the inn towards the end of our agenda has been postponed. Announcements and updates. Anyone from the board? Bernard.
Hi, I'm unmuted, yes. At 11 a.m. on the 11th day of the 11th month of 2021, Brookline held its annual Veterans Day event, which was a great success. Most of the select board in attendance. We all recognize the incredible job that Bill McGroarty does for Brookline veterans, including those veterans facing health and financial problems, and during this pandemic, loneliness. Probably the most important problem to address. I was also honored by receiving the Veteran Service Award as given to me by Chair Hamilton. Thank you, Heather. And at the conclusion of the event, a really nice thing occurred. Bill McGroarty's granddaughter, Quinn McManus, who played taps on the bugle, not by recording, but she actually played taps, which is very difficult and not a lot of people can do it. She distributed notes to veterans in the audience written by the children at the Golden Chickpea Daycare Center. So I'd like to just thank the daycare center for that initiative. Also, I want to just mention that on Tuesday, November 23rd, which is next Tuesday, Brookline Police Department, along with the Rotary Club, the Police Union, and the Brookline High School, is holding a Thanksgiving meal for the community at 9:30 at Brookline High School, one of many community outreach and support events that the police department sponsors throughout the year. Not everyone may appreciate police doing things other than chasing robbers and burglars, but people who benefit from this community outreach do appreciate it. If we have a meeting next Tuesday, I urge the chair to schedule it later than usual so that I and anyone else can participate in at least the setup of this important community event. Setup should be fun. So that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else for announcements? John?
Thanks very much. If people go to the page for the Transportation Board on the town website, they'll find the recordings of recent meetings, held in the Zoom format, including the one held last night. And at the beginning of that meeting, they will witness a number of our neighbors speaking out with great feeling about people who have been victims recently of car pedestrian. I hesitate to use the word accidents because frankly, there's a controversy and there's reason for controversy as to how we should characterize these tragic occasions when pedestrians are either harmed or even in one case recently lose their life from the actions of a motorist. I just want people to listen to what is said by people, some of whom knew the particular individual who died when a car struck her as she was crossing at Orchard Road off of Washington Street. And I want those who have raised concerns at both the Transportation Board and in other forums during the past week, I want them to know that this matter is of extreme concern to the Select Board as well. And this is not something that will be shrugged off as just inevitable because these things do happen. We have to do everything we can to make sure they don't happen. And we are going to take a good look at some of these recent events and figure out what we need to be doing as quickly as possible to make sure there isn't a repetition of these kinds of events in the near future. So again, please think about just checking out the Transportation Board meeting And those who have spoken out, please speak out again
Recording in progress.
and hold our feet to the fire to make sure we get something done. Thanks.
I'll just say that I'm meeting with the chair of the Transportation Board on Friday to discuss this matter and hope to present something to the select board so that we can take some action. Raul and then Miriam.
Sure. Thanks, Heather. And thanks, John, for saying that. I talked with Heather and Mel over email about this, and the particular incident is something that's being investigated. And I join John in the need for us sort of revisiting our policies around our streets, not just in that particular area over by Washington Street, but also other areas of town, and to make sure that we're doing everything we can to the extent possible to reduce or eliminate certainly fatalities, but also injuries like this. And so, I think count on this being a discussion at future board meetings, but we also have to let the folks who are doing the investigatory work do that work so we can really understand as best as we can piece together exactly what happened here and then talk about next steps.
Miriam?
Great, thank you. And just to John's discomfort with saying accident, in the ER, we generally say crash, motor vehicle crash, for that very hesitation that you express. But on another note, I do have a few announcements, and I want to thank Cheryl Ann Snyder, the emergency management coordinator for the Office of Emergency Management in the town of Brookline, for passing these along through the MRC. I'm a Brookline MRC volunteer, even though I'm yet to actually volunteer for something, but I am listed. And so I want to let everyone know that there's a Thanksgiving feast being held. It's actually a combination of the Brookline Police in partnership with the Brookline Police Association, the Rotary Club, and Brookline High School for a community Thanksgiving for those in need. It will be Tuesday, November 23rd at the high school with service beginning at 5:30. They do want you to try to RSVP. I don't know how to share. I have the flyer. I don't know how to share it. So my guess is if you Google Brookline Community Feast, you'll get what you need to RSVP, just so they know they have enough food. There's also a community blood drive. Young Israel of Brookline is holding its 4th annual Brookline Brighton Community Blood Drive, Sunday, December 5th from 8 a.m. to 2:30. And I would send you to the Young Israel website for more information on that.
Great. Any other announcements or updates?
One more, sorry.
Oh,
There's,
okay.
Sorry, I missed this one. There is an end of menstrual inequality event and donation drive, and that's Monday, November 22nd from 7 to 8 at Zoom, on a Zoom link. And I would have to see where to send you for that. I will put it in the link once I figure it out. There's a flyer.
Great.
I'll put it in the chat, I mean.
Any other announcements before we move into public comment? Seeing none, Raul, will you take public comment?
Absolutely. And thank you for joining us for public comment, everyone. This is an opportunity for us to hear your perspective on the issues in Brookline that matter to you. We do have a few rules I'd like to share. Each person speaking tonight is limited to 3 minutes. You don't need to use the entire time, but you may if you like. I will say we are on a shortened schedule today, so brevity would be appreciated. Please refrain from personal attacks and from addressing personnel issues during your comments. Members of the public sometimes raise questions during public comment. We may be able to provide a quick answer to a question, but are more likely to work with staff to get a more thorough answer and respond over email. We'll let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining, and when your time is up, please conclude your remarks at that time. If you have more to say, you're welcome to send an email to board members expressing your thoughts in greater detail. So Kate, who is first up on our list for public comment?
Thank you, Vice Chair. First up is Mark Harrington. And Mark, I'm just promoting you. You can unmute and speak.
Excellent. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time today, and I'll try to keep this brief. I sent you an email with a few more details you can refer to. I'm the president of HealthWorks Fitness. We operate 3 fitness facilities in Brookline, employ over 100 people, and have operated health clubs since 1991. First off, I'd like to thank you all for your support throughout the pandemic. It's been extremely challenging for all small businesses, especially in the health and fitness industry. The tent we were able to set up in the Path Street parking lot got tremendous use, and the community was extremely grateful for the opportunity to work outside throughout the summer into the fall. So thank you very much. I'm sharing some disappointing news with you all today. Our health club in Chestnut Hill, just inside the Brookline border, is closing down on Thursday after 18 successful years of operation. We have 58 staff members there. We're doing our best to transfer most of those staff members to other locations that are able to keep going. But our ability to keep operating the club in this climate is severely restricted. It's gotten more challenging this week. There is a lot of really amazing benefits from the Infrastructure Act that was signed into law yesterday. But one of the really hard hits that the business community took was the employee retention tax credit, which a lot of us have been relying on, was discontinued. Previously, it expired on 12/31, and with the passage of the new infrastructure bill, it now expired last month, actually, 9/30. So unfortunately, our club was no longer financially viable to operate. And a lot of small businesses and health clubs in particular are in the same situation we're in. I'm asking that the town reconsider their mask mandate. And I'm looking for a meeting with Mr. Maloney, the new public health director, to talk about more details on how we can do that safely and make people physically active again in the town. Brookline's case count has been below the CDC threshold of 50 cases per 100,000 for more than the last 5 weeks. Several other cities and towns, most recently Washington, D.C. today, have ended the mask mandate for health clubs. And there currently exists an uneven playing field in the town where many businesses are either actively disregarding the mask mandate or choosing not to enforce it, leaving those of us that are enforcing it in a really tough situation. So I look forward to continuing this meeting with Mr. Maloney and any support you can all provide and helping to make sure the residents of the town are physically active as we enter the new year. Thank you, everyone.
Next, we have Emily Jacobson. Emily's being promoted now.
There we go.
Emily, you're on now. Thank you.
Hello, Emily. We see you're off mute. We don't see you, but if you'd like, you can turn your camera on. If not, you're welcome to just go.
Hi, thank you, Select Person Vanskoyak, Fernandez, and Hamilton for your comments earlier. I'm here to acknowledge the death of Patty Arliano, who was killed in a crosswalk off Washington Street. I didn't know her, but I have had the terrifying experience of opening the door to a police officer, going to the hospital, seeing the awful, really terrible violence that a car can do to someone. I'm sorry. It took multiple surgeries and years of rehab, but my mom did walk again. I feel sick for Patty and the people that knew her, and I feel frustrated that more than 20 years after my mom was hit, it has only become more dangerous to cross the street. Traffic violence is so insidious and banal and preventable. Engineers know how to prevent traffic deaths if we ask them to. This death was preventable, and the next death will be preventable. The speed limit on Washington Street is 25 miles per hour. To drive down Washington Street without speeding, you really have to pay close attention. The road is wide and slopes down, and you barely need to use the accelerator. It is so tempting to speed that I regularly have people honk and swerve around me when I'm going down the street at 25. According to the police, since 2017, there have been 64 car crashes, 6 bicycle and scooter crashes, and 3 pedestrian crashes on Washington Street on the floor box stretch surrounding the Driscoll School, right where this death occurred. The Pequon Police Department's crash statistics spreadsheet starts in late 2013. In 2014, police recorded 964 traffic crashes involving injury. Planned CIP allocation to traffic calming and safety improvements line item shows $50,000. In 2015, traffic injuries increased to 1,091. CIP traffic calming line item was $50,000. In 2016, traffic injuries were 1,237. CIP calming traffic line item is $50,000. In 2017, traffic injuries were 1,309. CIP traffic calming line item was $50,000. 2018, 2019, again, almost 1,200 injuries and traffic calming at $50,000. In 2021, despite the fact that so many of us stayed home, there were 788 traffic injuries and again, $50,000. For 2021, earlier this month, we had 2 people, including a police officer that went to hospital following a car crash on Harvard Street. A child was struck on St. Paul. A woman has died. Again, $50,000. I understand that additional funding is allocated by the DPW or collected through state grants for calming projects, but I also take it as a reflection of our collective commitment to take this problem seriously, that we plan to spend about the price of an average SUV on road safety every year. We now have a backlog of 17 streets awaiting calming, and we're doing about 1 or 2 a year. We have an unusually dedicated staff in the transportation department who take advantage of every opportunity to apply for state grants and do an exemplary job of working with the community on projects like calming. These people go over and above in their jobs to explain engineering and listen to resident concerns. But anyone who has watched the transportation division closely will tell you that they have had more and more responsibility piled onto them in the past decade without commensurate increases in resources. I want to urge members of the select board and any town meeting members listening to dedicate adequate resources to our transportation division. Please ask them what support they need to stop people being hurt and killed and to implement more proactive planning. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
Vice Chair, we have 21 attendees and nobody has used the hand raise feature to speak. Only the
Okay.
2 people signed up today.
Thank you so much, Kate.
Heather, we do have one more hand up now.
Susan Park wanted to speak on Article 9 when that
Yes,
comes up
and-
later.
Yes, she can do that when it comes up.
Thank you.
All yours.
Right. So again, we have very limited time, so I'm going to try to quickly go through this agenda. The first thing that I will move is approval of the meeting minutes from November 9th, 2021. Any objections, discussion, edits, changes? Seeing none, I will move approval for that, and I will take a roll call vote. Bernard.
Aye.
Raul.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Miriam.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. And before I describe the contents of the consent agenda, Mel, did you want to make an announcement?
Yes, I wanted to have an opportunity to introduce formally to the board, to the public, our new ARP grants manager, and who will also serve as a budget analyst to our staff, Tyler Bilal Toller. I don't know if Tyler is here, but if he is, he could get promoted. We introduced him also at the Town School Partnership meeting last week, but I wanted to welcome Tyler to the community and let you know that he's hard at work on the ARP grant and already submitting information and documentation and Actually, item 3C on your calendar, 3B on your calendar is an agreement with Norfolk County, which he's been working on. So I just wanted to have an opportunity to introduce Tyler and to also let the board and the public know that this is a unique opportunity for us to have an additional staff person in this area, a budget analyst. It's one of those areas that BFAC certainly recommended a lot. And so we're happy to have him. Unfortunately, right at this time, we have Justin Casanova Davis, our assistant town administrator, doing double duty down at the finance department, where he's serving as acting and town treasurer. But soon enough, that'll be resolved and we'll have a full complement. But I want to welcome Tyler and thank you for the opportunity.
Great. Welcome, Tyler. I understand that you are also a transportation nut.
Yes, we've talked about this a little bit.
Do you just want to say a few words for the rest of the board?
Yeah, so I'm happy to be here. I came here from the Michigan Department of Transportation with a thorough grant background, so I'm excited to get to work here and make these ARPA dollars work for the town. So, yeah.
Great. We're delighted. Thank you so much for joining us at this meeting.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Heather.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly describe the rest of the consent agenda. Executing the grant agreement between the town of Brookline and Norfolk County for the American Rescue Plan application submissions. Approving or accepting a gift in the amount of $100,000 from the USGA in connection with the official championship merchandise program. Authorizing the transfer of $50,000 from the Boston Athletic Association, BAA, Expendable Trust Fund to the USGA gift account under the direction of the Recreation Director for the purpose of providing startup funding to support the Community Partnership Committee. Approving GMP change order number 17 with Skanska for the Brookline High School expansion project in the net amount of $0. Approving a change order number 8 with CTA for the high school expansion project Tappan Gym and third floor renovation in the amount of $61,651.75. Approving change order number 4 with MB Kenny for the Brookline High School expansion project deferred maintenance in the amount of $18,413. Approving amendment number 25 with William Ron Associates for the high school expansion project, additional design services for quad repairs in the amount of $135,425. Approving change order number 5 to the contract with Gilbane Building Company for the Driscoll School project involving additional brick and outdoor floor drain and associated piping in the amount of $5,508. Approving an amendment to the contract with Russo Bar for building envelope repairs and additional design services for 3 buildings, including the New Lincoln School in the amount of $49,500. Approving amendment number 17 to the contract with Jonathan Levy Architects for the Driscoll School project for vibration monitoring for a 12-month period during construction in the amount of $107,712. Accepting an award granted by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health to assist the Brookline Department of Health and Human Services with COVID-19 case investigations and contact tracing in the amount of $342,000. The grant will allocate $171,000 each year over a 2-year period, fiscal 22 and fiscal year 23. Executing and approving authorization for a master lease purchase with Santander Bank with an annual cost of $157,458.33 for 3 years at a 0.79% interest rate for a total of $469,476.99 of equipment for the Department of Public Works, a 2021 Intimidator Model 15 XP Brush Bandit wood chipper, a 2021 Volvo L120H front end loader, and a 2021 Chevy Silverado medium duty 1-ton with a regular cab dump truck. Approving and authorizing the chair or her designee to execute an amendment to the town's fiscal year 2022 home subrecipient agreement between the town of Brookline and the West Metro Home Consortium. Approving the following applicant as an alternate manager for NETA, Lucas Costa. And finally, question of approving a temporary wine and malt beverage sales license to the Lars Anderson Auto Museum to be held on Friday, November 19th, 2021 for a luncheon presentation from 6:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. at 15 Newton Street, 150 people to be expected. All those in favor? Bernard,
Aye.
Raul,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Miriam,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay. So next up, we have a lodging house agent application to approve. Who do we have to speak on this item?
I believe we have the owner operator here. That was my understanding. Let me check.
Okay. And after this, we will be taking up a common victualler license, Kupel Bakery. So just be prepared.
Chair Hamilton, the person that was to speak on the lodging house, I do not see them in the attendees.
Okay, can we move ahead to Kupel Bakery?
Kupels is Julia, and we're going to promote her.
Great.
Hi, Julia. You've been promoted to a panelist. You can unmute yourself.
Can you hear us now? All
Yes.
right.
There we are.
Hello, welcome to our
Hello,
select
everybody.
board meeting.
How are you guys?
So if you just want to introduce yourselves and say what connection you have to Kupels, and if I'm pronouncing it correctly, I've heard different pronunciations over the years, and just say a little bit about the application. We just want to kind of ask maybe one or two questions, and then we will vote on the application.
Certainly. I'm Julia, and this
Farzad.
is the more recognizable part of Couples. And you can call it anything you want as long as you enjoy our bagels. But it is Couples from the original owner whose name was Koupelnick, and they shortened it to Couples. We're applying actually for the common victuals license upgrade because we would like to have some outdoor seating. We originally had a common victuals license when we applied and took over from Allen in 2007. But in 2013 and 14, I believe Brookline changed its common victualler and food vendor to common victualers only, people with inside seating, which we were working on at the time but did not have. So we kind of got lost in the loop of COVID, restaurant information in regard to seating improvements and mandatory things and all the requirements. And so when Meredith looked into it, she said it's because you have you don't have a common victualer's license. So we don't. We do have indoor seating now. We don't use it because of space limitations and COVID restrictions for a number of people. So we do have indoor seating, and we would like to expand the outdoor seating for next year, but we're focusing on changing our license to a common victualers at this time.
Excellent. Any questions from select board members? Bernard?
What type of license do you have now? I guess maybe
Food service, food vendor, which is what the town sent us in 2013 as a measure of determining the difference between food service vendors and common victualers. They said that we were now going to be a food vendor license because we only had outdoor seating. That was seasonal. But now with all these new restrictions and changes and the updates due to circumstances, this outdoor seating situation is changing as well.
I enjoy your bagels, by the way.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. He's the person responsible. I just pay the bills. He does all the hard stuff.
Who makes a jalapeno cream cheese?
Well, everybody.
Is that, have you tried it with the jalapeno bagel?
Yep. No, I don't. I only.
Yeah, we call it J&J.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a very good combination. But you all have to try our newest one. It's a harvest bagel, And we're trying to get a little bit seasonal with Thanksgiving coming up. And if you have a chance, stop in and grab yourself a few.
Running a kosher bakery is a little tough because you have a lot of limitations as far as ingredients goes and things like that. Like, I don't know if everybody knows, but our baked goods is completely dairy free. So just imagine making the pastries without butter. Imagine, things are like that, like arugula, one of our most popular, and all our pastries, everything is there. And to be kosher, you have to have your cream cheese be made in a separate place. So we had to open a kitchen in a basement and on and on and on. It's just not an easy operation.
It's always an adventure, and COVID threw us for one, but we were able to survive, and we're grateful for that, and grateful for the community support that we received from all the citizens of Brookline and elsewhere, actually.
Great. Miriam has a question, and then I will probably get right to the motion.
Great.
Sure.
So I just noticed that what's listed as your hours of operation are Sunday to Saturday, 6 a to 6 p, but I believe you're closed on Saturdays for the.
Not anymore.
Not any longer.
Not anymore. Oh, all right.
Yes.
About 2 years ago.
We found that it was worked out okay with the rabbis that we weren't, because neither one of us are Jewish. But it was a really hard decision to make. And it was just a matter of economic need. And we're looking in hindsight, we're kind of thank goodness every day that we did, because with the COVID and, supplying consistent hours for people, that was so important to them. So we were glad we were able to do it, but it wasn't an easy decision by any means.
Well,
Thank you so much for your dedication to the town of Brookline and to choosing to locate here. Let's take a vote that will help these proprietors stay in our town. So I will move the following language, approving the application of upgrading a food vendor to a common vic for Julie Ellen LLC, doing business as Couples Bakery at 421 Harvard Street. Hours of operation will be Sunday to Saturday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Seating will consist of 12 inside seats.
Sorry.
The outside,
Inside, outside.
Yeah.
Sure. All those in favor? Bernard.
Aye.
Raul.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Miriam.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you so much again.
No,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any word from the lodging house?
That's what I want to say.
I haven't heard anything, Chair Hamilton, and I don't
Okay.
see them in the attendee list.
So I'm just going to do a time check right now. We have to let Big go and therefore adjourn this meeting. I believe it's 6:40. We were scheduled to have a presentation on short-term rentals, but I wonder if we should have our conversation about warrant articles first and try to get those out of the way. And then if we have time remaining, talk about the short-term rentals. Melissa, do you object?
I will tell you my presentation on short-term rentals is brief and that I can get through it very quickly. I need the fee to be voted on this evening so that we can launch the website tomorrow.
Okay.
So
You say you're going to be brief. I totally trust you. So go for it.
okay. I'm just going to need Kate to help me share my screen so I can share my PowerPoint.
Melissa, I
Well,
believe you can share, you can go ahead and share it.
It says it's disabled. If you make me a co-host, Kate, that'll work.
Okay.
So I will put a hard stop if we spend more than 10 minutes on this topic.
Okay. So tonight what we're doing is essentially giving the board an update on where we are with the implementation of short-term rentals. I have the team listed on the first slide. It's been really a pleasure working with them as they go through the workflow that's needed in order to implement the town meeting regulations that were voted at the last town meeting. So we're ready to open up the permitting site for registrations for short-term rentals. So just wanted to give the board a little sense of how the workflow would work. And then also use that as a way to also provide a fee schedule so that we could support the work of these enforcement agencies and the licensing office in order to make sure that we're keeping all of these registrations safe and complying with health, building, and other fire codes as well. So the first thing about short-term rentals are the eligibility requirements. And so this is pulled straight from the bylaw. So I'm not going to go ahead and read it for everyone, but this is essentially what town meeting voted, who is eligible for a short-term rental. You can't have below market housing. You need to be able to follow all building, health, fire codes. You need to be able to make sure you don't have any outstanding fees or payments owed to the town or other entities. And then there are also occupancy requirements around the number of guests that are allowed to stay in a short-term rental. And so once you confirm your eligibility, this is kind of the flow of how it will work. We will launch the website tomorrow for short-term rentals. And so the URL for the website is to the right here of the green first stop button. You also, in addition to registering with the town, you have to register with the state. So making sure that you complete your state registration would be another step in the process. Then you would go to the town, Acela site, which is our permitting system, and register with the town. And there's a whole host of information and documentation that you would need to provide in order to register your short-term rental with the town. Once you are once your information is in the system, it will trigger a series of inspections. And so building, fire, and health department are coordinating on the inspections of short-term rentals. And once all of the inspections are completed and meet their standards, then you will be approved. And so the way that we've scheduled the first year of short-term rentals in order to time renewals in a way to make Tiffany's workload a little easier is we're making the first year registrations worth an 18-month period. That way she's not, if we do it in the same time as all of her other registrations, it would kind of bog her down in terms of all of the other licenses that flow through the office around that same time. So that's the recommendation of staff on that. And then the other thing is the registration fee. So after, meeting with these departments, we've been meeting pretty frequently every other week for about 3 or 4 month period. And they're estimating it would be a $275 fee would be an appropriate amount to cover the cost of the inspections that need to occur and some of the efforts that are needed on the licensing end as well. After, a year into it, if we are finding that is either good or bad or needs to be revised, we'll come back to the board for a revised fee schedule. And then we'll also have a sense of whether or not the building department and health department feel that these renewals can happen. We can have them be for up to a 5-year period. But I think that we need to understand kind of what's going to be flowing in before we make a final determination on how long the renewals should be. Especially, there might be a way to segregate depending on the type of housing, how long the renewals should be as well. So the only thing that I'm looking for tonight is a vote from the board that sets the fee schedule. And once that happens, we can open the website and allow for people to register and allow for the work to be done prior to the short-term rental bylaws becoming effective, which is in January. So it'll give the enforcing agencies about a month and a half to start their work so that in January we'll be good to go with the short-term rental program.
That was pretty fast. Thank you so much, Melissa. Any questions for Melissa before we move the language that she highlighted at the very end of her presentation? Raul.
Sure, maybe just a comment. I don't know if this fee will be burdensome to folks or not. If it's the right fee, I take that this is the cost of doing business, and so we're going to set this fee. I guess I'm a little bit concerned about setting a fee without having heard any input from folks who already had been doing short-term rentals or might be. But I do appreciate that included in your remarks was sort of a condition of reviewing this and adjusting accordingly at some point in the future, I think within the year. So anyway, I just wanted to offer that thought. I'm still thinking it through right now. The other thing is this is totally separate from the fee, but I know that you mentioned this site, if approved tonight, is going to go up tomorrow. Can we be clear about if someone has an issue with an STR, whether they think one is operating that shouldn't be, or if it's operating inappropriately, who they should contact, because they're past history, they either contact the select board or some people would contact the police. Who should they be contacting if there's an issue?
It really depends on the nature of the violation. So if it was a building issue, it would be the building department. If it's a health violation, it would be health and fire. But I think, that's part of what our office will also be looking at as well. And that we're hoping that the Acela system will help automate some of those complaints. In terms of comparable fees, we did look at comparable fees in other communities, and this is in the range of what is offered in other communities for short-term rental registrations. And I will say that some of the communities that are assessing these fees don't have as rigid of an enforcement obligation in addition to just requiring the registration.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. The system, I think, helps with regard to how to reach out. I just think having a point person that is the person that can filter these. Otherwise, someone's going to email us, and we're going to email Mel and say who's the right person to handle this. And then on the fees, I hear you on that. Okay.
Any other questions or comments by select board members before I move the motion? None. I will move the language that the town adopt the following fee schedule for short-term rental applications under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 22F. Registration fee, $275. All those in favor, say aye. Bernard.
Aye.
Raul.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Miriam.
Nori and I say aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you.
Heather, can I just offer, just a quick comment? I'm wondering if, let's get this out there. Let's get some feedback. I do wonder about some of the folks that we've, especially for seniors and some others that, we do have this issue with folks being, house rich and cash poor. And I just wonder if there's a small subset of folks in Brookline who might want to benefit from having an STR, but for whom this 275 might be a burden. And if there's, I don't know. I just want us to be willing to sort of think that through if this is an issue that comes up. Mel, sorry.
I'm just wondering, perhaps the board's vote could contemplate potentially some sort of a, forbearance or some waiver or discount or something like that. Melissa, did you consider any of those yet?
No, I think I'm just pulling up the email from the other communities. So as an example, Provincetown has a $300 a unit for a 3-year certificate. Cambridge is $500 for a 5-year. Boston has $25 a unit. And then for a home share, $200 a unit. And then odor adjacent is $200 a unit. Barnstable is $90 a unit plus 25 for additional units on the same parcel. And then there are some communities that don't require registration, and then enforcement is complaint based. But I think some of these other communities don't have an enforcement requirement that we do, which is why we felt the fee was appropriate. But I think it's something that as we go through the program, we can continue to assess it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we will inevitably hear from affected members of the public. And when we hear from them, we will figure out how to address it.
All right.
Okay. So we have about 22 minutes left. I assume that we have not heard from the lodging house.
He's registering now, Chair. I'm just waiting to see him show up on the attendees. We just sent him the link.
Okay. I'm going to delay since they were a little tardy, and I am going to jump into the warrant article discussion since I'm not exactly sure which articles we are going to take up tonight. So let's have a conversation about warrant article 9. John, do you want to briefly describe the motion to refer update? I believe that you were working over the weekend and that Scott Ananian filed it with the moderator.
Yes, thank you very much, Heather. And that's a correct description of events. So this came about because the Advisory Council on Public Health, which is, if anybody wants to sort of see their bona fides, they can just go to their page on the town website. A very, very distinguished group of people that we are lucky to have in Brookline serving in that capacity as the Advisory Council on Public Health. They took a look at Article 9, and they also looked at 8, and they also looked at 7. And I want to be very clear with people. They should read the recommendations that the Advisory Council on Public Health made on all 3 articles, even though I might disagree with their recommendation on Article 7. However, I did find their reasoning on Article 9 to be very compelling, in that they took a critical view of the proposed commitment to a moderator's committee study, and the language that was being used to describe the study and how this study group would be set up and what the objectives of the study would be. And as professionals in their fields, they said it just doesn't measure up. Epidemiologists who had the opportunity, and it would be a welcome one, to do a study on cannabis impacts in a community where cannabis retail operations have recently been enabled, would do a study along very different lines, and would do it in a very different way. And would design it according to useful standards of what they think needs to be investigated and how to investigate it. And they would work with the Department of Public Health to do so. So I witnessed that discussion by the Advisory Council on Public Health. I saw their recommendations as published in the combined reports, which I urge everyone to read. And I thought to myself, it seems to me both the Select Board and the sponsors of Article 9 have missed an opportunity because neither of us had suggested that the study be referred to Advisory Council on Public Health to take care of. And so I thought it's not too late. And I did check with Pat Marr, chair, and she checked with at least 1 or 2 of the members of the council. And she was delighted that I had suggested that maybe we could granted, it's at the last hour, but maybe we could find a way to do this the way we should have done it in the first place, which is to refer Article 9 to the Advisory Council on Public Health. For reasons I won't go into, having to do with process, it seemed best that some town meeting member, not a member of the Select Board, make that proposal. Scott Ananian, thank you very much, Scott, has agreed to make that referral motion, and that's why we are discussing this right now.
Thank you, John. Kate, get ready to promote Alok and Susan. I agreed to give them each 3 minutes.
Okay, we just promoted Alok.
So we'll hear from Alok, who is the petitioner. Susan also wanted to speak on this warrant article, and then we will discuss as a board and maybe take a vote.
Heather, can I just ask briefly, was the folks putting forward this amendment find a way to get it in time? I thought the last I heard was that this didn't meet the deadline.
So it didn't meet the deadline for the Select Board to be the one offering the motion. because we were meeting today and we're going to be discussing it at town meeting tomorrow evening. So that's why Scott Ananian submitted the motion to refer in his
Now I understand.
individual capacity. Yeah,
All right,
so
thank
it
you.
will be considered. Look, you've got 3 minutes.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I thank you very much, Madam Chair, for the few minutes. I appreciate it. I just want to say one thing before I start, which is the petitioners for warrant article number 9. We've accepted and we're moving forward. We're going to move the advisory committee's version of Article 9, and I think that's in all the combined reports. I just want to share that just so we're all using the same warrant article 9. The warrant article 9, the advisory committee's version, asks the moderator to appoint a committee with membership that includes a diverse set of expertise, views, and experience with recreational marijuana, and with the purpose to assess the emerging scientific data, to carefully consider the experience of other towns and cities, and to think carefully about how we as a town should balance licensing with community health. The point is to have an independent team of experts, not for the committee to do the work, but this team of experts to assess work done by others and to incorporate what that data is saying, to engage with the community and to review lessons learned from other towns and cities and find a path that balances licensing with reasonable restrictions. The Select Board would like to refer Article 9 to the Advisory Council on Public Health, and as part of this referral, they promise to fund it. This is a huge step in the right direction. The DPH and the ACPH are uniquely qualified to frame and carry out with complete independence a study that will help all of us better understand the public health impacts. I have a question for the Select Board. My question is, does the Select Board believe that prioritizing and funding the DPH work, whatever work product they come up with and they think should be prioritized, should that funding be conditioned on whether or not there is a study committee? And the second part of that question is, should it be conditioned specifically on a study committee that is led by the ACPH? Or would the Select Board also prioritize and fund it if the work was led by a moderator's committee? Thank you.
Susan, you've got 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madame Heather Hamilton. And yeah, I just wanted to, I just was curious, because I know in the referral motion, the Scott Ananian motion, it does talk about a recommendation for funding, but I guess I'm just wondering why the Department of Public Health and the ACPH, that they're so underfunded. I think they were talking about like $5 million. And I was wondering if anyone had those answers, because it seems like with a pandemic, you know, like I guess I was just really surprised that in their request, because I showed up at the ARPA listening session and did request money for the health department, but they had said that they were lacking like seven staff. So it just really surprised me that with what's been going on the last few years, how money has just not been going to them. So I do hope that they get funded more. And if warrant article 9 passes, so Pat Maloney, the interim health commissioner, he said he is interested in collaborating, but I do think that the moderators committee is more diverse than the ACPH and the public health, because we were hoping to make it really diverse as possible. Not only just we do want experts and expertise, but we also wanted people from we wanted someone from the school committee, maybe someone from the business sector, you know. So that's the only difference. I mean, I do think it's in the right direction, and thank you for suggesting that. But the moderators committee, we did have a broader view of who would be there or who the moderator would appoint. So That's the only difference. We do hope that warrant Article 9 does pass, though. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to try my best to answer on behalf of the board, and the other board members can certainly object to whatever I say next. I was under the impression that we may be able to use cannabis mitigation funding for some of these expenses related to the items identified wanting to be studied under warrant Article 9. I don't know that to be true. We will, of course, have to double check with town council, but that's what I hope will be the case. And if that is the case, then I do think that it is prudent to put this with the Public Health Advisory instead of creating yet another committee. I've been on this board for about 4 years. We create a number of committees. They sometimes are duplicative efforts, and it takes a great deal of work behind the scenes to recruit and interview and appoint a committee, regardless of whether or not it's a moderator's committee or a select board committee. I will vow that we will do our best to try to fund at least parts of some of the items that are outlined in warrant Article 9. I understand that some of the things that the article lists just are beyond our resources as a town, and they're more of either a macro level or it's just not the way the epidemiology defines certain things. I want us to be very conscious that it is 6:30 right now. I have to end this meeting in 10 minutes for Big to leave and start town meeting. I'm going to call on Raul, but we've got 2 other agenda items that I need to try to get us through before 6:40. Raul.
Just very briefly, I'll say what Heather says, I think makes a lot of sense. Frankly, I'm not quite sure if this is a public health study, why we would have anybody but public health professionals leading the study. I just don't understand why we would go in any other direction than that. And frankly, I don't know, despite their interest that the Advisory Council on Public Health, the members of the council have the bandwidth to do it, but I could imagine them overseeing a study, a paid study, and having their leadership there. I could see being very beneficial. So I'm in agreement.
Any other comments before I make a motion? Seeing none, I will make a motion to on favorable action for the referral motion to the Advisory Board on Public Health for warrant Article 9. All those, look, I just don't have the time to give you. Sorry. All those
It's
in
an
favor.
update on the AC, because I'm on the AC right now as well, if you'd like it.
Not really. I've
Okay.
got 9 minutes and I've got 2 other items. I'm just really sorry. All those in favor of the referral motion that I mentioned, say aye. Bernard.
Aye.
Raul.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Miriam.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We will see what happens at town meeting. The best of luck. I understand that there is consensus around warrant Article 25. Can we try to get through that in like 2 minutes so that the board has a position on it? And then I will try to get us through the public hearing on the Logic House.
I believe that Article 25, the referral motion offered by the advisory committee, is now supported by the petitioners. That's what the update I got from the planning director earlier today.
Great, that should make it very simple. Do any select board members need us to go into further detail on this? It seems like parties are pretty much in agreement. So I will move favorable action on the AC's motion regarding warrant Article 25. All those in favor? Bernard.
Aye.
Raul.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Miriam.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you so much, Melissa. And the Lodging House is a public hearing. So I will open that public hearing. And please, yes, Steve, if you can make it very brief. We've got less than 7 minutes.
My apologies to to this entire board. I'm sorry. I would think after 2 years I'd be able to sign on to a Zoom meeting, but for some reason this evening I wasn't able to. My name is Steve Handler. I'm the manager of 1061 Beacon Street in Brookline, and I have a new agent that received his training this morning, and we're hoping to get him approved this evening.
Great. Any questions by board members about this?
Could you give us,
Bernard, thank you.
yeah, could you give us real quickly some background on him? Actually, it's in the packet, but and he's trained this morning, and now we're approving him.
Well,
I guess
Mr. Green, he's lived in the building for 3
Okay.
years. He's a student. He's a very nice young gentleman, reliable, responsible. We received 3 letters of recommendation for him, and like I said, he was approved this morning.
Right. Okay.
Any other comments by select board members? And then Kate, let me know if any members of the public would wish to speak on this agenda item.
Hi, Chair. We have 12 attendees at this time, and nobody has indicated they'd like to speak.
Okay. So I will close the public hearing, but do notify me if that changes. Any other comments or questions by select board members before I move approval of the lodging house agent? Seeing none, I will move, and Steve, you may need to help me pronounce the gentleman's name, approving the application for lodging house agent, Mr.
Sachpreet Nahal.
Sachpreet Nahal for 1061 Beacon Street. All those in favor? Bernard.
Aye.
Raul.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Miriam.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you so much for trying to log on.
Thank you. My apologies.
No worries. Okay, so that wraps our, no, we have a appointment for a commission. Almost forgot. So the Commission on Disability has a few terms expiring, so we wanted to make some appointments. We also heard from, I believe, Sean O'Neill in an interview either last week or the week before. It's starting to get really difficult to remember the weeks. So I will run down the list of names. Please, anyone object if you want me to separate, and we will take them individually, but let me try to group them and take them all at once. So appointment for Sean O'Neill for a term expiring in 2025. James Mitzak, Deputy Chairperson, to be reappointed for a term expiring in 2024. Henry Winkleman, to be reappointed for a term expiring in 2023. Robert Heist, reappointment for a term expiring in 2024. Ann Kaminsky, reappointment for a term expiring in 2024. Joan Mahan, reappointment for a term expiring in 2023. Elaine Ober, reappointment for a term expiring in 2023. Any objections to grouping those together? Seeing none, all those in favor of making those appointments, say aye. Bernard.
Aye.
Raul.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Miriam.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, and that is our business for tonight. We will see you at town meeting.
On a bit.
See you soon.
Great meeting, Heather.